The vines instantly withdrew, and the other two boys stared at Harry in surprise.
Parseltongue works on killer vines,
said Blaise in surprise.
I dunno, was I using Parseltongue just then?
Asked Harry.
Yes, didn't you know?
Harry shrugged as he headed for the door.
Honestly, it all sounds English to me. Snakes born in other countries sound like they have foreign accents, and most snakes drag their S sounds, but I always hear it in English. I never even realized I was hissing back to them until Theo told me the first time I brought him into the lair.
The next room was a large, empty chamber. On the far side was a heavy wooden door that appeared to have hundreds of quivering metal keys forcefully embedded into it. As the boys drew nearer, they saw that each key had a set of wings that was fluttering uselessly. To the side of the door was a rack of brooms with one empty slot. Blaise tried the door, but it was locked and resistant to the Alohomora. Harry looked around speculatively.
So a big room with a high ceiling, winged keys, and brooms. Obviously the keys were airborne and you had to fly after them with a broom until you found the right one, at which point the rest of the keys became hostile and attacked. Someone, probably Jim, got the key, threw it to someone on the ground who opened the door, and then the git flew through.
Harry looked towards the door and the twitching keys embedded in it.
Which means the key is on the other side.
He finished angrily. Blaise knelt and examined the door. Yep, I can see the key still in the lock. He pulled out a piece of parchment from one of his pockets.
Is that one of Hermione's parchments?
Asked Harry. Yeah, sometimes we like to talk about homework and other stuff. Blaise unfolded the parchment and carefully slid it most of the way under the door. Harry watched his friend, feeling curious and mildly jealous that Blaise and Hermione had stuff to talk about that he wasn't privy to. Then, Blaise carefully aimed his wand into the keyhole and said,
WNGRDIUM-LEVIOSA.
He jiggled his wand gently, and after a few seconds, there was a clink as the key fell out of the lock and onto the parchment. Then, he pulled the parchment back underneath the door with the key resting on top. Blaise snatched up the key triumphantly and unlocked the door.
That was brilliant,
exclaimed Theo in amazement.
Well, I am brilliant and normally would be happy for it to be acknowledged, but I must confess that in this case, I got the idea from an old episode of Scooby-Doo.
The other two looked at him blankly.
Okay, I understand, Theo, but do you mean to tell me, Muggle-raised Harry Potter, that you have never heard of Scooby-Doo?
Harry shrugged.
The only time I ever got to watch television was when I stayed with the crazy cat lady across the lane while my relatives went on holiday. She preferred soap operas and spaghetti westerns, so if you want to talk about Sergio Leone films or maybe Coronation Street, I'm your guy.
Blaise sighed as the three passed through the open door.
We are getting you a TV and a cable box for your room at the Dursleys, Harry, whatever it takes.
The next room was equally large, but with a much lower ceiling. There was a giant chessboard covered in huge and mostly broken pieces.
A chess game,
said Harry.
But of course, It's just a good thing these traps didn't reset after the Griffs made it through,
said Theo.
There's no way we'd be able to play a chess game in the amount of time we have left.
As they made their way through the rubble of the chessboard, Blaise spoke out with feigned casualness. So, we've been through a herbology trap, a seeker's trap, and now a chess prodigy's trap. Anyone else sensing a pattern? Theo's eyebrows shot up as he considered the significance of what Blaise said. Harry just looked grim.
Yes, I've noticed,
he replied tersely, but at the moment, it's not at the top of our to-do list, so let's table that matter for now. The next room contained an unconscious troll which they passed quickly. The one after that was a small room with a table situated in an alcove. As soon as the three passed inside, purple flames arose from the archway behind them and black ones from the one up ahead. On the table was a row of potion vials and a parchment containing what appeared to be a riddle which Harry started reading aloud.
Danger lies before you while safety lies behind. Two of us will help you whichever you would find. Oh, come on.
He glanced at his watch. They had less than 3 minutes.
We won't get finished reading this thing in 3 minutes, let alone solve it. Then we'll do it the Slytherin way,
said Theo as he started emptying his pockets onto the table. We'll cheat. Out of the pile he'd made, the boy picked up a small leather case that could fit in the palm of his hand. Opening it, he removed what appeared to be a monocle on a brass chain. He breathed on it softly, which immediately caused the clear lens to tint itself amber. Then, he slowly started moving it across the potions.
Another gift from Alex,
asked Harry.
Yes, it detects poisons, dangerous potions, and other potentially harmful things that might be added to food or drink. Just the thing if all your meals are provided by a filicidal monster. Philly what?
Asked Blaze.
Filicidal, it means someone who wants to kill his or her own children.
Theo glanced up at the other two, who seemed doubtful.
It's a real word, I looked it up. Anyway, these three are poisonous,
he said, pointing out different vials.
While these two are non-poisonous but have a fairly high alcohol content. Now, if we plug that additional information into the logic puzzle.
He thought for a moment.
That means this potion lets you go forward, and this one lets you go back. Great job, Theo,
said Harry.
Okay, here's the plan. We dump out one of the vials of nettle wine, and I'll use the Gemino charm to duplicate enough of the backwards potion for both of you to leave and make sure help is coming. I'll distract Quirrell until you get back. That is one option,
said Blaze.
Here's another. We dump out 2 vials of nettle wine, and you use the Gemino charm to make enough of the forwards potion for all of us. You can't go with me, guys, he said to come alone.
Theo raised his hand to show off his family ring.
I don't know if I ever mentioned it since you haven't done anything crazy enough to need it in a while, but this ring can confer a notice me not effect on multiple people if they all maintain physical contact and can all hold their breath long enough. You can go in and distract him while we creep in behind you and set up a sneak attack. No, it's too dangerous. It's just Quirrell. If we can get at him from behind, we can. It's Voldemort,
interrupted Harry.
What?
Said Blaze dully. I'm sorry, what? Theo just stood still, speechless and horrified.
Quirrell is being possessed by the spiritual remnants of Voldemort. He wants the Philosopher's Stone to create a new physical body for himself, and when he realizes that the stones are fake, he's going to start killing everybody. That is, unless I go in and stall him until help arrives. And why precisely are we finding this out now?
Hissed Blaze as he grabbed Harry's arm to look at his watch.
With less than a minute and a half to go. I'm sorry, I wanted to tell you, but Voldemort has access to this power called legilimency that lets him read minds. If I'd told you anything about it, you'd have only been in danger, and I assume if he can sense your thoughts with it, he could probably see through the notice me not.
Said Blaze sarcastically.
Apropos of nothing, but did you ever figure out the secret behind that VHS tape I gave you for Christmas?
Harry blinked.
Yeah, of course, it was a transfigured, occlumency book.
He trailed off sheepishly.
Right, and it never occurred to you that maybe I gave it as a gift because I got it myself at the age of 8 and had already learned everything I could from it.
Harry's mouth opened and closed repeatedly before he finally blurted out, I've had a lot of things on my mind since Christmas. I got distracted. Obviously, deadpan Blaze.
Which book?
Asked Theo curiously.
Most Hidden Art or Aegis Mentalis? Neither, it was Pathways of the Mind. Ooh, I've heard good things about that one, but it's banned in Britain. Well, you can borrow Harry's copy since, evidently, he's never opened it.
Blaze replied acidly. Harry looked back and forth between the other 2 Slytherins in consternation.
Do you mean to tell me that I've been keeping all of this to myself since November in order to protect my friends from danger, and my 2 best Slytherin friends have been studying occlumency since the age of 8?
Said Blaze.
9, of course I learned how to conceal my thoughts. Filicidal dad, remember?
Added Theo. Harry drew breath to scream "Gah" at the top of his lungs, but his 2 friends hastily cast a silencing spell on him since there was a Dark Lord somewhere nearby, and so some degree of subtlety was called for.